All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Harlingen City Commission. The time is now 5:36 p.m., and we will call this meeting to order. It has been duly posted as required by state law. We have a quorum of the commission as everyone is present. I would ask for everyone to please stand while Commissioner Lopez leads us in our invocation.
And bow our heads. As we gather here today to discuss matters of importance to our community, we ask for your guidance and wisdom, Lord. Grant us the strength to make decisions that benefit all residents and uphold the values that bind us together. May our discussions be thoughtful, our actions be just, and our commitment to the well-being of the city be unwavering. Amen.
Amen. Now the pledge. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are missing our city attorney today, but I'll ask Melinda if you could read the conflict of interest, please.
Yes, ma'am, will do. Conflict of interest. Under state law, a conflict of interest exists if a commission member or certain members of that person's family has a qualifying financial interest in an agenda item. Members with a conflict of interest cannot participate in this discussion nor vote on the agenda item. Are there any known conflicts of interest to disclose at this time?
None.
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 Nope. None. None.
All right.
Okay, moving on to item 3, citizen communication. At this time, the public is invited to address the City Commission and speak on any matter not specifically listed for public hearing elsewhere in this agenda. Please note that the City Commission members may not respond to comments or deliberate on topics addressed. Mayor, we did have one citizen sign up for citizen communication. That would be Mr. Ron Lozano.
Mr. Lozano?
District 3. Harlingen's Constitution is termed our charter. One of you, despite what assurances I could give, and parenthetically they did pan out, was fearful that the Charter Review Committee would be a vehicle for wholesale change in single-member districts. People get power hungry, and our experiences in literature is replete with countless anecdotes. But our charter should have synchronicity. Now, at the last gathering you had, you were termed you 5 men. And after that, I say that numerically. It's an odd number. But on November 5th, after that, if the voters so choose to follow your dictates, it could be 6, an even number regularly voting. State law mandates only one thing of you, only one sole thing. That is that you pass a budget by the start of the fiscal year, almost always October 1st. Yet, a stale impasse would result next year if the voters do accede to your desire. And a budget vote ends up in a tie. You either have to be honest. No, you have no honest response right now, even with Mark here, Mark not here, whatever. You have no reasonable response to the comment I just made, simply because there is none. Oh, unthoughtful laws of math. And there was a lot of unthought in those secret star chamber type meetings, totally un-American. But that's what you all have shown over and over again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lozano.
Okay, Mary, that concludes our citizen communication.
All right, moving on.
Okay, moving on to item 4, discussion on the proposed City of Harlingen budget for fiscal year 2024-2025.
Thank you, Melinda. Good evening, Mayor, City Commissioners. Today we have a presentation of the proposed annual budget resulting from the last workshop. So I've left the dates in there just to kind of keep us on track as far as like the budget and tax deadlines. Here are some of the budget goals. So the next slide, we did receive our certified totals as of the July 25th, and this is the result of our certified totals. The first column is the adopted amounts from 23-24. The third column is our no new revenue rate. The fourth column is our voter approval rate, and the fifth column is the same rate as we have currently with the new certified values.
For the budget that we're going to discuss today, we are going to be using the voter approval rate. That would call for a 2.5% reduction in the current tax rate. Could you go on to the next slide, please? Sure. If we do that on this slide, it shows that it will be the lowest tax rate that we've held since 2004. And so one of the changes that from the first budget workshop that we had to this one is that because we got the certified totals that we didn't have before, and we were using projections, the actual tax revenue was decreased by $500,000 from the last year's budget to this one.
That is correct, yes, sir.
Okay.
Excuse me, what was that again? $500,000 what?
The tax revenue decreased by $500,000 because of the voter approval rate
Final numbers.
and the final numbers that we had, right? Go ahead, Rob.
The next slide. So this brings us to the proposed budget and fund balance. So as this is remained the same, $34,079,000 beginning from projected 9/30/2024 at the end of this fiscal year. So now our proposed revenues are $66,909,000 compared to our operating expenditures of $64,765,056, plus our one-time fund balance expenditures of $3,162,441 would bring our total revenues under expenditures to $1,018,411. So if we analyze our fund balance, we begin with our $34,079,882, and if we subtract our net expenditures over revenues of $1,018,000, and we subtract our 120 days minimum days required of $21,292,000. We're also subtracting the special project of $3,013,000 and our encumbrances of $500,000. We have a projected fund balance available at 9/30/2025 at the end of this year of $8,255,644.
Now, on this particular slide, we took the $1,018,000 from the fund balance to cover the one-time expenditures of capital assets. The one thing that I didn't do, and we're going to talk about later, is that had we taken the full $3.1 million from the fund balance, that would have given us an excess revenue over expenditures of about $2.1 million. So there's still plenty of room in the budget for any type of change. But I wanted to show what the budget would look like had we just taken the minimum to balance the budget. I know that the commissioner talked about taking the entire one-time expenditures out of the general fund, and we did do that. We just didn't show it in this particular slide. But that number would give us an excess revenue over expenditure of $2.1 million.
Correct.
So just keep that in mind when we go through the budget.
May I ask, is this the right time to ask the question? What is the $1,018,000 for?
That is what would bring the budget balanced because of the one-time expenditures for capital items,
Okay, so we're taking it out of
fund balance.
the fund balance to balance the budget.
Only for the capital items that we made,
Correct.
right? And we're going to show later what those items were.
So that is correct. The $1,018,000 includes those one-time expenditures. So the one-time expenditures total $3,162,441. On the next slides, I'll go in detail of what those items are.
And just to clarify again, Total revenues, when we started, were $114 million. Total expenditures were $115 million, which gives us that the $1,018,000 that we took out of the fund balance. So this is a large budget for this fiscal year.
Right. So the general fund, the $3,162,441 are detailed below. So the police department, we have one-time capital expenditures of 600.
Robert, if I could just interject
Sure.
real quick. That number, the 3.1 million, are the one-time capital expenditures that we factored into the budget. Now, that number, we can easily take entirely out of the fund balance to cover that. What we showed you in the slide before was just that we only took $1,018,000. So we can still take the full amount. It's just a matter of what the commission wants to do.
So the general fund, the police department has 689,238 in one-time expenditures, and those are detailed here. Traffic signals, bucket truck for 160,000. Animal control, 30,000 to replace a unit truck. And street maintenance, 2.2 million, 2,283,000. And these are detailed with asphalt zipper.
One of the topics that we discussed at the last meeting was actually creating a street crew. This actually would fund all the equipment needed for that street crew.
And it takes time to order the equipment and for the equipment to be delivered.
Well, yes and no. It does, but Oscar's spoken to a supplier that has some of the equipment, most of it in stock. And so if after the commission chooses to adopt the budget, which includes the street crew, we can send them a letter stating that the commission's approved the funding for these particular items, and he can hold them for us till the start of the fiscal year when we can cut the check and get them delivered sooner. Do you know what the exact delivery date might be?
For most of the equipment, we would probably have it by the end of October.
And this 2.2 would come out of that 8 from the previous slide, correct?
Yes, but not all of it. We would, if you want to fund the 3.1 million, we just need to take another 2.14 million out. But that would be excess revenue over expenditures. Right now, the budget is balanced by only taking out $1 million. And so if you want to fund other positions, we funded 16 in the budget already. But if you want to fund more.
16, like the new ones that we were talking about before?
Yes. And we're going to cover those in just a minute.
Okay.
But yes.
I have a question for you, Oscar.
Yes, sir.
Are you following the correct procedures in procurement of this equipment?
We go through buy board, yes, sir.
How much of a rebate are we going to get?
We'll know once we input all those numbers and we get an actual PO for it.
Commissioner, the refund.
Rebate's only done once a year.
Yeah, it's only done once a year. And when you enter a piece of equipment, they don't give you a dollar amount that you're going to get for that piece of equipment. They wait till the end of the year and see what you've ordered, and then you get a rebate. But it's not at the time of order, it's at the end of the year.
Because if I'm not mistaken, last time around there was an issue with we do get checks and no, we don't, and it turns out we do get checks.
So they're in the buy board. So what they were talking about were the fire trucks. And so if you order a fire truck, you have to pay for it in advance in order to get the deep discount. But that deep discount comes from the manufacturer, not from buy board. So then after you make those purchases, at the end of the year, all the purchases you made may include that fire truck, then because it's a cooperative, it depends on how much the cooperative makes that year, and then whatever they make based on your purchases is distributed out in a rebate check. So when we were talking about it last week, that's what I was trying to explain last week, that there was two things. There's a rebate that we get from the cooperative, and there's a discount that we get from the manufacturer.
So we save money both ways.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. The only thing is that we can't tell you how much money we're going to save from the buy board for each of these particular items until at the end of the year when
They
they give us the
aggregate
check.
all your purchases.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And when you say end of the year, you mean December 31.
I guess the cooperative's year end, and then whatever money they
Is
make.
that December or October?
I could check. I don't know what their year end, but
It's not important.
yeah.
It actually comes down the flue right in the mayor's office where chimney is. Like Santa Claus, right? Just a check for City of Harlem, rebate check.
But there's a bell and I hear it, so I go get it before she sees it.
Robert, for those that may be watching from home, can you just briefly, in like one sentence, explain what the buy board is and why cities,
So-
municipalities use the buy board?
The buy board and other similar entities are what we call a cooperative. And so the state purchasing procurement guidelines allow for different methods of purchasing. And so a cooperative is one method. There's also bidding out a purchase through the city where you can give equal opportunity for all vendors to bid on something. And then there's also a sole source purchase. But what the cooperative does is that it relieves some of the administrative burden from the city because the state, these are like state cooperatives, and so they go out and do all the bidding for multiple cities. It's like a cooperative throughout the state. So they go out and do all of the advertising, all of the bidding, and it relieves some of that administrative burden from cities. So it makes, and they get it at lower prices because they do it all throughout the state and they get large quantities of bidding.
So I like to think of it like when you go to one of the big chains and they tell you, we will match anybody's price,
Right.
right? And so you
Yes.
know that you can go there and get good prices and make sure that you're good stewards of taxpayer money.
Right, so they do provide good prices, competitive pricing, and there's multiple cooperatives. Buy Board is just one of them. There's TIPS, there's many different ones. And so sometimes they require a nominal fee to be in the cooperative. Some don't require a fee, but they do allow for variety and they just relieve some of the administrative burden. Like our city has 2 members in purchasing, and so it could be burdensome to have 2 people doing all the bidding for the entire city. So it makes it quicker and efficient.
All right, thank
And so
you.
when you do that, you don't have to do all of the 3 bids because they've already done that at the state level.
Sounds good. Thank
That's
you.
a good question. Thank you. So the next slide, we also do the fund balance analysis similar to the general fund. So we have in the sanitation fund, $14,687,802. And the sanitation fund does not have a policy of 120 days, but at our last meeting, you all asked to see what that number would look like. So for the general fund, if we took 120 days reserve, it would be $3 million.
Robert, real quick, the commission asked us to come up with a policy to keep the fund balance, and then so we talked about it and chose to match the city's 120 days. That's how that
Right.
number came up.
Okay, so that is the 120 days in the sanitation fund. And because the sanitation fund is an enterprise fund, it does have capital assets that are recorded in the fund. So those capital assets are in the fund balance, but they're not liquid. So the net investment in capital assets totals $8,650,000. So if you begin the year with $14,687,000 in fund balance with a $3.4 million reserve, net investment of $8,650,000, that leaves you with $2,556,833 net of that 120 days. So then if we have projected revenues under expenditures of $2,529,000, and that includes one-time capital expenditures that were proposed in the sanitation fund, you would be left with fund balance available at the end of 9/30/2025 of $26,889.
So just like, I'm sorry. Go ahead. So just so I can understand, this is the 26,899, that is after the stuff that we wanted for sanitation.
After the one-time, and I have those detailed out of what we are taking out as one-time expenditures also.
One of the things that I'm going to ask the commission to consider is that just for this budget, that we perhaps go to 119 days, maybe 118, because there are 2 positions that were not funded in the budget, 2 mechanics, and I think we need them for the sanitation fund because we're adding a lot of equipment into the city's inventory, and so they're running short, and so I think we need to get those. And another thing that The capital equipment that Robert talked about, there's 6 pieces of equipment that are extremely expensive. They are already in the budget. So we would take the 2.5 million from the fund balance to balance the budget, even though the value of that equipment that we're buying is about 2.8 million, because they already have built-in revenues over expenditures. So this is all we need to balance the budget.
Correct.
And in reference to, instead of 120 days to 118 or 119, you're referring specifically to the sanitation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Exactly.
And just keep in mind that 2.8 million of that is in one-time expenditures, not in recurring operating, so that will start building up again after we make these expenditures.
And their revenue, annual revenue is about 10 million?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah, so. Okay.
So these are the one-time expenditures in the sanitation fund that total $2,864,000. We have a Hyundai Kona for admin and staff, $30,000. 2 residential units, $800,000. 2 side load units, $824,000. 2 commercial front load units, $836,000. 2 dump trucks at $331,000. F-150 Super Cab for maintenance, $42,742. And so that includes the sanitation expenditures.
Usually, I always see the vehicles. This is the first time I've ever seen it in my years. It's usually a Dodge, Chevy, or Ford. How did we end up with a Hyundai? The Hyundai just threw me for a loop, right? Like,
No, I didn't even.
Yeah, from that.
I'm assuming
even Siri doesn't understand this,
the
right?
thing is that I guess the prices on the vehicles, like I went out to a lot one time and the prices of the vehicles were like, holy cow. So I think possibly because the Hyundais are so reasonably priced.
They're actually really good cars. I had 2 for my sons, and they went through the ringer, and they lasted a long
Good.
time.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, the last time I went to a Berthagen, I was like sticker shock. So this slide is just the municipal court, and they are
Municipal
for-
golf.
I mean, municipal golf course, a mower, a triplex mower for the tee boxes, and that was included in the purchases. So at the bottom, this includes all funds: the sanitation fund, the general fund, the municipal golf course. That $6 million is all funds.
And all those pieces of equipment have been funded. We took, just a reminder, 2.3 million out of sanitation, and a little over $1 million out of the fund balance for general fund to do that. And again, we won't have those expenditures next year because these are just one-time expenditures.
Correct. So the next slide are the budget reductions from when we initially started the budget process. We had $69,144,000, and this is where we are today, $67,927,000. So that's unfunded. That's an increase. It's a decrease of $1,216,825 from the initial request. These are the non-funded items that were not funded in the budget. So we have by department. So it's a total of $6,939,000.
Let's just breeze through these real quick.
Yeah. So these are all the non-funded requests. And these are the positions that were requested and were funded. It's 16 positions that were funded for a total cost, including salaries and benefits, of $869,967. And they vary from 3 groundskeepers.
That's for the Parks Department?
For the Parks Department, a building inspections permit technician, a building inspections administrative assistant, a paving superintendent, paving manager, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There are 10 positions for the
8
street department.
equipment operators, which are all for the street maintenance, and 1 conversion of a part-time to a full-time tennis center clerk.
I have a quick question. On the page before that, it has proposed non-funded, and there it says the fleet shop garage doors replacement. Are those needing replacement, like they're not working, or we would like to replace them? Chris?
Is your question like need versus want?
Yes. Yeah, like you need to replace them because they're non-functioning?
That is correct, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So then they don't close?
They do close manually, but there are days that we just can't get them to close.
Okay. So that might be something that we need to it seems like,
Which safety issue, insurance issue?
right, I'm worried about
Yeah.
those.
Yeah,
those
yeah,
issues.
safety issue, insurance issue, property issue.
Making Gabe break a sweat.
I know, well, I mean, it's all about what
Liability
what
issue.
we need to get funded, and so it's 25,000. I would think, Gabe, I think that we probably need to get those replaced if they don't close, or if they're having to manually do it and that doesn't work.
Yeah, you don't know, turn the gun back out.
Chris, what does one of those automatic sandbaggers cost?
The last one we bought was for 42,000, sir.
42,000?
Yes.
Okay. The automatic sandbaggers?
Oh, okay. But you have some.
We have one.
Oh, you probably need another.
Yes, sir.
It would help.
There's a lot of people that like working out in this city. Maybe we can just get everybody to come and fill sandbags.
I agree, the mayor should lead the way.
I'll do it. Let's do it.
So Gabe, would you
I won't
be
tell you how
comfortable taking 25,000?
Sure,
and
the budget
adding
can
it to
handle
the
that.
budget?
I think that that's
I mean,
reasonable.
because really, there's so many issues here, and you don't want anybody to throw their back out fighting a garage door.
Does that include installation?
It does.
So you're comfortable, Gabe?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
There's a couple of more that I'd like to backtrack on this proposed non-funded request.
And I'll just preface it with what wants and not needs. Is that what you said over there?
Needs
Yes.
versus wants.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
I liked how you said it last year.
I think it's a need that we finally close up the warehouse and put a door out there and have some type of cameras.
Is
I
that
was there
for
a
the
couple of weeks
records retention
ago.
room?
Yes,
Okay.
on that records room.
Sure,
Okay.
we provided the quote, and so, I mean, if y'all give us the funding, we can do that.
That's something that's a need, not a want. Also, I believe this is a need. You're asking for two street sweepers. Can you deal with one and we can get that done? You okay?
Yeah.
Can you live with one and we can get it done?
I'll take half a sweeper right now, right? I'm just joking about that, but yeah, I mean, we can do with one sweeper for now.
How many sweepers do you have right now? Three?
Sir. Three.
Three.
That couldn't come from the sanitation fund, Gabe?
No, that's not.
I asked.
Yeah.
We had that conversation.
Now, are you going to need another employee for that sweeper?
That is correct, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
so with that, okay.
So maybe those are some things, I mean, I hate to say it, but maybe that's something that we can look at the next budget, because we really want to give you this new crew and pull out the equipment that you need for that, unless it's an absolute, like we can't do the work that we need to do unless we have it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we could be a little bit more efficient, right? If we had at least one more sweeper. Right now, when we go through the whole city, it takes almost close to 412 days for us to go through the whole city when it comes to sweeping. And so if we would have two additional sweepers, we would designate one sweeper per district, and we could actually run that district in less than 200 days. And so we would be a lot more efficient. Can we do it with three? Yeah, we've been doing it, and we can continue doing that, for sure.
What would the cost of a operator be?
That is for an equipment operator too, and I believe we do have, it would be the same cost for the ones that we included on the paving crew?
The 39,000.
Yes,
That
that operator needs a CDL, so.
39?
okay.
Yes.
I thought we were looking at these down here.
So is the total with the benefit, would that be, what is that, 58 then?
I'm not sure.
No,
Because these maintenance worker, that's not what you're asking, that would be another classification, wouldn't it be? Like operator,
You're looking
Operator
at
two.
equipment operator
Yes,
two.
right there, equipment operator too.
which is 58.
So it's 58,000 for
That's
this
more
total.
like it.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, so that plus 58,970. Okay.
What's the lead time for the sweeper?
For a sweeper, right now, it's about 3 to 6 months. Though they're in high demand, but I know that I was bragging about one of our reps that was here last time. We do hold a really good relationship also with the rep that does the sweepers. And so, I mean, if we put one in order, he can get us one in 3 to 6 months, more or less.
What was the cost? Where is that?
350,000 for one. Plus about 9,000 for the operator.
To me, to me, this is a want rather than a need. Like, to me, I'd rather, instead of buying 2 street sweepers, buy 1 Vector truck. Because I remember when Ruth came up here, it was like a ridiculous amount of time it takes us to clean out all the drain lines and sewage lines throughout the whole city. Both of us need that. District 4 and District 2 need a Vector truck more than we need a street.
What was the cost of that alternative to a Vector truck that you presented?
The backcount trailer that, along with the truck, it was, I believe it was $283, if I'm not mistaken.
And how much is a Vector truck?
I'm sorry?
And how much is a Vector truck?
The Vector truck is a little bit over $500,000.
It's like close to 700. I remember being
Yes.
sticker shock on that one.
Right.
So to me,
But keep in mind,
no.
the sweeper and the Vector truck, and let's call it the semi-Vector truck, the main thing that they take care of is the flooding out there in the streets and on people's yards. And if we don't clean up the streets, all of that debris is going to go into the drains. And it's one or the other.
I agree. And so if you were to say, for me, priority-wise, Vector truck is the priority over a street sweeper. And I'm not saying we're not going to go with the street sweeper. I would just say,
When I came on board, we were told that we had 2. Actually, we only had half of one that worked. The other one was on blocks. Okay? But at the end of the day, we have more now than we did before, which I'm happy for. Secondly, before that debris gets into those lines, we clean it up, we might have success.
Chris, what was
But-
that Toad thing you showed us the last time?
That is a backcount trailer, Commissioner. Yes.
That's 289, you said?
I roughly, yes.
That's with the pickup truck too, right?
I believe so, yes.
But that would not require another employee. You would use,
No, we will require an employee, but it wouldn't be an equipment operator. That doesn't require a CDL.
okay.
I just think we need to be a little conservative with our spending here. We're doing a lot this time around funding. I think that was one of the goals, was to fund this new crew and to put all our efforts into getting the equipment. And so luckily there's all that available funds in the sanitation fund, and then the rest that's coming from the general fund. And so as much as I'd like to fund all equipment, I think we really need to prioritize. And if it's going to be something in addition, maybe it's focusing on what's important to the commission and limiting it to one more piece of equipment, and that's it, because you also are having to carry on more payroll, which is reoccurring. And so given that it's 3 to 6 months on the sweeper, maybe, we can revisit mid-year, see where we are in terms of revenues, and there's a lot coming into the community where I think that we were talking about earlier, we are anticipating additional sales tax revenue, right, to increase in the coming year by 5%. Is that what we talked about? And so maybe potentially there's opportunity we don't have to wait and we can do an amendment. I think that would probably be a sound idea, but that's just my view. I'm really satisfied with the presentation in terms of the new crew, and I know that's going to do a lot for the community. And I know that we got this recent rain, and everybody was kind of concerned, right, within the community. But I know Oscar sent me a ton of pictures, I think, and you were out there in the community. I think that we were really well prepared and ready, and that goes to your team's work throughout the year, being ready and prepared for it. So could we do more? Yes, but I think you guys have done an amazing job, and I feel comfortable that we can withstand whatever weather comes our way. So I don't know
So
what
are-
y'all want to do.
Are we agreeing on the mechanics, that we do need the mechanics?
That, yes.
Plus,
I think.
we're going to get to that in just a minute, because it's later on in the presentation. But yes, I am going to ask for 2 mechanics from sanitation.
And it's in the sanitation fund.
Okay. Yeah, and I want to mention something that I know that's not in the paper, but like I know Daniel's aware that at the library, they're, in October, I think, I don't know, Donna, is she here? She's here, right? I'm sorry. When is the whole, because what are we doing, the junior league, what are they doing at the library?
They're renovating the children's area, but it only includes construction. It does not include furniture. And one of the big needs that we have is new shelving, because we're going to be pulling all the shelving out, replacing all the carpet, and then the shelving that we currently have, it's right in the middle of the library, so there's not a whole lot we can do as far as programming, family seating. There's no place for tweens. So if we're going to, update some of the furniture and make the space more flexible and more usable, now is the time to do it, because we're pulling all the shelving out anyways.
Because I was thinking about the library. I mean, we're making it look really nice. Apparently, I saw one of the mock-ups of what the junior league is doing, and it's going to look really, really nice. But then we're just going to move in with the old, ugly bookshelves. And it's,
Vintage, sir.
vintage, yes, vintage.
And like,
wrong with
there's
old and
Charm.
Yeah.
There's no place for families to sit together. We have little tiny toddler chairs. There's no place for tweens, which tweens are the age of like 8 to 12, where they're not quite old enough to go to the teen room, but they're not babies anymore. And we don't really have a place for them in our children's library right now.
What's the cost on it?
$150,000 is what we're working with. Like,
Is that just
we
for the
really need $170,000
For furniture.
for the furniture, the shelving, everything. It would be about $170,000, but we asked for, I think, $150,000.
And where does that, where does that quote come from? Is that someone building?
That's
the
no,
shelves?
that's from different vendors that we priced out.
Got it.
And how about just for the shelving?
Just for the shelving, probably about $100,000.
And
We're going to do it. Just do it right.
That's what I'm thinking, because I want it to look nice. I mean, I know when they're finished, when they're done with the project, that's something we need to push, because this is a huge investment that the junior league and the library has worked hard for it, and I want it to look nice. And I don't want people to walk in there and like, oh yeah, look nice, but look at the vintage furniture they have.
But it definitely, the layout needs to be fixed so that it can be used for multi-purposes and be more accommodating for families.
And a plug for the junior league. They're building a tree with brass leaves on it, and you could put any name on it you want for $100 up to $500 or $1,000 a leaf. That's how they're raising money.
Oh, no joke. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Get my boy one.
You have 2 boys.
No joke.
Like, calm down.
You have 2 boys. You have to get 2.
Two. All right.
yes.
One for each? Okay.
No, I think, and so 100, what did you say? I'm sorry, 170 would give you everything that you need?
Is for the family furniture, the teen or tweens, and the shelving.
And then, of course, this would not be a reoccurring expense. It's just
Right.
a
It's just
one-time.
a one-time expense.
This would be eligible out of the fund balance.
But they're
Sounds-
getting us halfway there. It just would be great if the city could get us the rest of the way and have it looking amazing for our community.
Yeah, we're very grateful for them designating this project, and I think it's going to do wonders for the kids, and I know that y'all do great work out there, and so I'm sure that the commission wants to make sure that if we're going to do this investment, that it's done right, and you can feel proud of the space that you're in. I didn't know that there was a no space for the little ones.
Yeah, well, we have toddler space. We don't have the tweens.
In the middle.
Right.
So are tweens just girls?
No, it's just a name for, they're not babies, but they're not
So I have a
teens.
tween. I don't know if I've.
Evan is a tween.
That's just
I know. I guess I just never called him a tween, but
that's how Like, that's what they call them in library land, I guess.
Is there another acronym you can use?
Papacito doesn't work.
I think that works. Yeah.
They're not teens, so what do you call them?
Right, right. No.
Preteen.
A preteen. There you go.
Preteen. Right, that I do.
Preteen. That sounds better for a boy.
Right. I was like, so I have a tween. I never thought I had a tween, a preteen, but yeah. Sorry, I digress. Any other questions for Donna? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thanks.
So moving on with the slide number 23, that's the funded positions,
I
869.
think Commissioner Morales had another.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know that we cannot afford that an internal auditor assistant. Can we make sure we get an internship internal auditor?
Well, I already told her she could do that. I just need she just needs to find one, and we need to figure out how much they charge. There are some that don't charge anything, and others will have to have a fee. So I just need to know what that number is going to be.
So I think that's a great point. I think that what we should do, and maybe we can prioritize for the next year, is maybe having a conversation with the community college and HCISD. And I know some other cities within the RGV are doing municipal internships across all areas of City Hall. And so that might be something that would be beneficial, because those are, the leaders of tomorrow, and they may want to work in city government. And so that means that they would help in public works, in city administration, in the internal auditor's office, the Humane Society, the library, and they can, I think that's something that we can do. And I want to say it's Edinburgh that does that, or maybe McAllen, I can't remember, but I'm sure we can reach out to them and see how they got started, and that might be something to not just assist, but also to help bringing in new talent into the city of Harlingen.
Especially the ones in those Team Skill USAs. Oh man, we could hire them all, man. Those kids are fantastic.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we're missing those opportunities. So if we can make that as a focus, and hopefully next time when we're here next year, we can kind of talk about that success or where we're at with that. Was that all, Commissioner?
Yep.
Okay. Proceed.
Okay. The next slides list out the non-funded positions, and that was 21 positions totaling $989,768. We have a list of the positions here. So that brings us to our proposed revenues. Our proposed revenues with
Robert, if you could go back to slide 26. Those are the two mechanics positions that are out of the sanitation fund, yes, that I would like to ask the commission to consider funding. I don't know how we left those out, but yeah, two for $90,000 budget increase. And again, we are taking about little over 2.5 million from the sanitation, so for one-time capital expenditure, so we should be fine next fiscal year with this particular addition.
Robert, I know this is a brand-new policy of the 120 days for sanitation, but even though we have now created the 120 days, and now we're going to go to the 118, 119 just for this 1 year, that's not going to affect our bond rating or anything like that, correct?
No, they usually look at our general fund.
Okay.
I think it's like internal policy.
Yeah,
I understand that. I just don't want it to have that unintended consequence. That's
Right.
Yeah, as long as we don't go
verifying.
negative or anything like
Yeah,
that.
correct. Just making
And-
sure.
Commissioner,
There's
I
still
think,
a reserve.
I think the reason they don't look at the sanitation fund balance is because the INS comes out of the general fund. So the bigger the fund balance, the safer you are as an investment for outside investors.
On this same sheet,
Thank you.
last time we were talking about making sure that planning was good to go, and also parks was a big issue. And I see here we have a Parks and Rec part-time admin position. What's this for, Javier Mendez?
So this is for the office. So right now, we only have one employee there. It's a full-time clerk. And so we generally close down for lunch. So I would like to have another person there to be able to open for lunch, but also when the employee is sick or whatever, then we have somebody to fall back on, right? And so, but that's the reason for the other position.
And these are the people that field the calls from the community?
Yes, ma'am.
So can we do that, Gabe? This is with benefits, it's 19, it's a part-time position, but they don't have any relief on the person, so if they're sick and,
Yeah, we can, yes, ma'am, we can cover them, sorry. That's 19 Parks and Rec.
So just so I have it for my notes, the additions we've discussed that seem to have the traction is the 170 for the library reno, and then the 19,382 for the Parks and Rec part-time, all right?
And the 90 for the two mechanics
Okay, perfect, thank you.
for sanitation, and then the 25,000 for the two fleet shop doors replacement.
One thing I did want to bring up, I know I brought it up in the last meeting, was Javier.
Mendez?
Yes, Mendez, I'm sorry. Was that, one thing I was hoping to also get funded was the
Disc golf?
disc golf there at Dixieland. I know that's something when we had the park meeting.
You're welcome.
Huh? We had the discus golf thing. We had a lot of people from the community come and talk to us, and that's something that's low-hanging fruit. And I think with all the upgrades that we're doing to Dixieland Park, the CDBG funding, then plus that engineering and design that we're doing to connect it to the trail, I think this is low-hanging fruit that we can just add. How much was it? You said 22,000, I think? And so it would be just a one-time thing for us to redesign the disc golf, I don't know, I can't pronounce the word. Disc golf course.
22,908.
Yeah, 22,908. And I think this is something that's very easy that we can get, and it would totally transform the park. And then we could start having tournaments there at the Dixieland Park, and then bringing in more revenue into the city and sales tax as people stay at hotels or eat at the restaurants.
I'll bring politics into it. The three of us are up for election, and if we put 22,000 into your park, it looks like we're favoring you.
You mean the community's park? It's not necessarily my park, it's the community's park.
Correct.
And we also had people from the
If you
community
wanted
that
to
came.
do another one, these people aren't up for election. You would want to put it in park, so there's of their territory, their districts, so as not to involve any politics.
Well, again, this is not politics. This is the community actually coming to one of their meetings. And if I remember correctly, when we had the community here speaking about that, you were in favor of that. You were even like,
I think it's totally cool
then why wouldn't you want to do what the community wants?
because of politics.
It has nothing to do with politics. This is just funding the upgrade to the park.
So you're not up for election in November?
Okay, gentlemen, so let's stay on task. I think that the fact that the park, it's already existing, the disc golf is already being utilized by the community, and we saw that there was folks from all over the region that come to Harlingen. We saw the fancy app where we're on the app all across the country, and our location is one of the very few in the Rio Grande Valley that has this opportunity for people to come and play. And I remember there was a young boy that was going to be competing like at the national level and came
Well, as a
from
matter of
Harlingen.
fact, I just got an email from his dad.
Exactly.
Joaquin McFarland, he's at the 2024 Junior Worlds right now.
We need to ensure that we can foster that kind of environment to continue to provide opportunities for our kids to be able to compete across the country. And so I think it's a great thing. And I understand your issue, but given the fact that it's needed, and I do agree that it's a low-hanging fruit, and that's something that we had talked about previously, you and I, in terms of walking the park and you were there too, and making, and talking to the community members that participate in that. And I think that there's some that need some help because, like me, that I'm awful at all sports, and I don't need anybody to agree with that. But
Pickleball.
None of us are disagreeing. That's why we're.
I'm
so
just
quiet.
saying, okay, I am acknowledging it, so I am okay. But there's one where you would potentially throw it and it could end up in the street, and moving that basket would probably be ideal for people like me, so we're not causing accidents and things like that. So I do think that that it probably needs some sprucing up, and you're already doing that with no budget, right? I think you took a couple of the baskets.
Right, so one other thing that I want to bring up is with the CDBG funding, right? So it was going to fund the basketball court, and so we want to put that basketball court at one of the existing parking lots off of Dixieland.
Mm-hmm.
By doing that, we're going to have to readjust some of the, or realign some of the holes, so it's going to take some of that, right, of adjustment.
Okay.
But the group did talk about, making it more challenging, putting more trees, and so that's what we're including in this budget.
And I would ask that if the commission is on board with providing this funding, that you reach out to them because they offered free labor and free assistance and
Designing
help.
and all that, yeah.
They want to be part of it, and it could be a good community project.
Right.
So is this something that we're doing, gentlemen?
I'm in favor of it.
I'm up for it.
Yeah, all of our parks have been gaining some sugar, which I'm really happy about. Lonsey Hill Park, we got that trail. You guys have helped me with Vestal. We're working on the soccer fields and Pendleton Park. We just got, $1 million or $750,000 for Victor. We're doing that massive extension by Hugh Ramsey going west or east.
No, we're not.
The one, not the one going behind the houses, the one that you had even suggested, the one further east, right? So I think we need to make sure that all the parks throughout the districts in the city get a little love every year to keep bringing them all up to par.
I agree. And like I said, this is something that the community came to me about, and that's why.
And the distinction also is yours is the only park with that amenity, right?
Right.
All of us have basketball courts or whatever, but yeah. All right.
The cost to adjust those two court or holes, I guess, is that included in the 22,908, or do you get any?
Yeah, there wouldn't be any costs because when the individual, I forget what his last name is, but he's works for a surveying company, and so he did the design for us, and so we just have to split them up so we'll be able to fit the basketball
All right.
court there, so it won't be any additional costs.
All right. Yeah, that's part of that's what I love about it, because like you mentioned earlier, was the community, they're putting all this, they're donating all their time and work and all that into it because they really want this.
I think that once you get it done, maybe come back to the commission and just give us a update on the involvement that you got from these organizations and what that looks like. And I wish there was a way to keep track of, foot traffic in terms of the parks. Maybe that's something that we need to look at because we really don't know.
Right, yeah.
It's hard to kind of gauge that.
And I'm not sure that you guys received this email, but did you guys receive the email that they're willing to do they also want to do a disc golf clinic, and they're inviting us to go as well.
All right, okay, Commissioner, we got
No, I'm
it.
just saying.
Yeah, good. I think so.
Yes.
That's- I was just-
But don't forget this when Guiteras Park comes up, all right, guys?
It's all good.
All right, I'm just going to need some money for that park.
Hey, well, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wait till your election year to get that money.
But you don't have to worry about that because you spend more than 10 hours a month on your district.
Oh, my goodness, gentlemen. Okay, let's,
27.
Robert.
So the next slide will go into our proposed revenues, and this does include our new certified totals that we've received. So that general fund revenue comes to $66,909,086. So as you see in the general fund, sales tax is $26,154,000, property tax is $23,947,000, and then you have other components of that revenue. And as you can see in the pie chart, the majority of that pie is the sales tax, the property tax, and some franchise tax.
And just want to point out that this is, again, another year where sales tax exceeds property tax since this
Yes.
commission has been here, correct?
Right.
Right, and point out that our number one revenue is sales tax, and so people need to keep shopping Harlingen.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You're right. The next slide is a detail of a budget comparison between 2024 and 2025. So you'll see the comparison. So we're $4,069,000 over the previous year. Proposed expenditures, we do have $67,927,497, and this does include all the one-time capital expenditures, which are included in this number. And as you can see, the bulk of the pie is personnel services, totaling 63%, or $42,829,322. And we have services and charges and capital outlay as the next two components. And capital outlay are always one-time expenditures.
And I will point out that our personnel services is 63% of the budget. Most corporations in the country are 72%. So we're doing really well with the taxpayers' money.
That is correct. Thank you for pointing that out. The next slide is the personnel services expense. So as you see, broke it out in three components. So police accounts for 39% of that personnel expense. Fire accounts for 27%, and all other departments account for 34%. So our total personnel expenditures are $42,829,322. And I've broken out other departments listed out there. So for this year, we had our salary increases, and this accounts for that are known salary increases because they're by CBA or our Evergreen study. So I've broken out those components by police, fire, and the Evergreen study. So far that salary expenditures that are in the budget are $1,517,442. Our expenditure budget comparison between 2024 and 2025. We have $67,927,000 proposed for 2025 compared to $57,219,000 for the previous year. That's $10,707,000. And as you can see, about almost $8 million of that is in capital outlay one-time expenditures. General fund and hotel motel payables, these are items that we pay. The top part is from the general fund. The bottom part is funded from the hotel motel. So that's $410 in the general fund, $931 from the hotel motel. So our proposed budget for the special revenues, our fund balance for all the special revenue funds total $12,776,730. Revenues that are proposed for the budget year are $23,494,384. The largest one being the awards program where we receive our grants. So almost $13 million of that is through our grants program. We also transfer between funds $1,968,063. So our total expenditures are $22,923,379. So that's excess revenues over expenditures of $25,939, bringing our beginning fund balance of $12,776 to $15,315 at the end of the year. For the enterprise funds, this lists out the enterprise fund, the municipal auditorium, sanitation, arts and heritage, municipal golf. We have the fund balance here at 9/30/2025. So we began the year with $14,422,000, revenues of $12,245,000 budgeted, proposed budget, transfers of $148,311, compared to expenditures of $15,185,735. So that is expenditures over revenues of $2,792,000. The majority of that being in the sanitation fund because of the one-time expenditures. So that would estimate our ending fund balance of $11,630,337. We also broke out the portions that are less investment in capital and estimated cash fund balance. So for all funds, we have approximately $10,177,000 in restrictions for capital assets. And so For all funds, we have $1,452,515. The sanitation we saw earlier, we broke it a little bit in more detail with 120 days in a previous slide. The next slide is our internal service funds. We have our motor vehicle warehouse and our health insurance, which are kept in a separate proprietary fund. We begin our fund balance of $8,538,000, revenues of $9,282,000, and expenditures of $9,004,000, bringing the total revenues over expenditures of $278,277, increasing our fund balance from $8.5 million to $8,816,310. The motor vehicle warehouse, which is our fleet management and purchasing and warehouse, they do have an investment in capital of $1,698,000. The health insurance does not. So that brings our estimated cash balance in the internal service funds of $7,117,928. And this slide is a summary of all funds of the city. So you have the general fund, special revenue, all special revenue funds, enterprise funds, internal service funds. So all funds combined, we have total fund balance of $69,817,000. Total revenues for all funds, $114,047,000. Expenditures of $115,041,000. So that would bring overall all funds expenditures over revenue of $993,085, reducing our total fund balance from $69,817,000 to $68,823. And remember, this does include one-time capital expenditures in the general fund and special revenue funds. General fund and enterprise funds.
So with this proposed budget, how many days will we have on our fund balance?
General fund, 120.
Yeah.
It'll come out to
Minimum. Actually, we're going to have more because,
Yeah, I think it was like,
Didn't we have like 220 something?
yeah, I think it reduced it because we did those one-time expenditures, but I can do that calculation real quick.
we did have 220 when we had the CAFR presentation. That was one of the first things Carlos Cascos mentioned with that.
Yeah, we had 220, so
220 days,
Yes,
and we're required to have.
120.
And if I recall correctly, Mr. Gasco said that was something that the city should be proud of, that it's what we should be striving to maintain, not to have just the minimum.
Right.
You don't want to live paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
Because when that rainy day comes, it comes.
That's right.
Yes.
let me do that calculation real quick.
So just
I'm sorry. Keep going.
what I'd like to do is that list that you talked about. Yeah, that one. That is going to come out. The majority of that is going to come out of the general fund balance. 90,000 will come out of the
Sanitation?
yes, sir, sanitation. So we can make those changes unless there's anything else that we needed to add that we overlooked.
So it's a minor addition, but I think that I was talking to the chief, and I know he's here, and they're doing a great job with security at the, or just monitoring and patrolling the trails. And Commissioner Perez had mentioned that I think you saw them out there.
Yeah, I've seen them twice. I saw them about a week ago, and then this morning. I saw them first time I saw them was in the evening. I saw an officer in his utility cart, and then this morning I saw him again. I was able to take a picture. Well, I didn't take a picture. My daughter took a picture with them and stuff. It was cool.
So anyhow, and we talked about getting them some bikes.
Bicycles, yes.
And so I'd like to put at least 2 bikes for the officers so that they can be out on the trail.
I bet you they're preferring to stay on that utility vehicle.
Well, they'll have both. They'll have both.
Those are some big hills if you're, some big hills.
Yes, but I know that the community has really, or maybe they can get some scooters, I don't know. But the community has really embraced the idea of having them out there, and we're putting all this work into connecting the trails. I think it's important, so I want them to have that. I think you said, Chief, you were already doing 2 from last year, right? And so they'd have 4 if we added 2 into the
2 bikes?
budget.
2 bikes or
Bicycles.
Bicycles?
2 bicycles, that's what the mayor's asking.
So they'd have a total of 4, because you
Correct.
already got 2 from the prior budget. Is that right, Chief? Or, well, you've got the money for it, is basically, right?
What is the cost for each one of them with all the
About $1,200.
1,200 for each? All right.
Oh, that went down. I thought they were a lot more.
What are these, Cannondales?
I haven't seen the actual quote. So. They have sirens? Yes, they do, actually.
They do have.
They're for police.
With lights and everything.
Yeah, like an ice
Really?
cream truck.
Oh, I thought you were kidding. No, wow.
No, they're police bikes.
Where can I buy one?
Not a novel idea.
Yes. I've never heard of this.
I mean, unless you'd prefer them to have horses. Would you like
Well, the
horse?
horse is pretty cool, but you know.
No horses down there. No.
There's enough stuff on the trail from the animals. It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we could do that. I thought
And
they
they're
were a lot
1,200 each or
more.
1,200 total?
1,200 each.
And then they're taking that certification or,
Right.
okay.
Gabe, I didn't see anything here, but we're still doing the boots for the, our number one assets,
Yeah,
right?
that's every year we do that.
Okay.
Yeah, the PD and fire budget for their own. We budgeted for the first time that we paid $200 per pair for the employees. And that's Robert, that's every year, right? That they're eligible to buy those boots? Yeah, every year.
And are they taking advantage of it?
Oh, yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so
And
just,
I'm sorry, Mayor, there's only 2 places in town that actually have,
Red Wing and Bull Rider.
and boot jack. I'm sorry,
Bull Rider.
one of them, Bull Rider, okay. One of the bulls, yeah, it has them.
I think Chris has-
Go ahead, Chris.
I just would like to request, right, if y'all are going to consider the 2 mechanics, we did also request a fleet service advisor. This person would assist all the mechanics with quotes, making sure to obtain parts, making sure to order other parts, making sure to receive those parts and assign them to the mechanics. So it'll facilitate that process, right? So if y'all are considering the mechanics, I would ask that y'all consider this one.
And that would come from the sanitation fund, too.
Yes.
how do you do it right now, Chris?
Our fleet manager does all that. And so he does all the record keeping for in our software. And so, he doesn't have the time to walk the floor and making sure that everybody's walking or anybody is on task with what they're working on. And so there's really no eyes out on the floor. He's basically just stuck inside the office, just taking care of all that.
I don't see that on the positions not funded.
It is on the non-funded side, sir.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I don't,
Yes.
you know what page that's on?
Is it here?
It starts with,
The fleet service advisor?
go to page 24, that's where they start.
It's there, Fleet Service Advisor.
Fleet Service Advisor.
Yeah, it's right down page 24. Yeah.
Yes.
1, 2.
Maintenance worker. Oh, okay, it doesn't say.
So that would come out of the enterprise
Yeah,
fund
I was
as
looking
well.
for sanitation fleet service advisor, okay.
I would say go for it since it's coming from the sanitation fund and it's something that they need.
Which is that?
This one, Fleet Service Advisor, that's out of sanitation.
We'll get this list to everyone for everyone to review at the end, but I'm just going to compile on everything.
That
What is it? I'm sorry.
Fleet Service Advisor,
Fleet.
Fleet Service Advisor.
44, 5.
Oh, it's right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Thank you. That one. Service Advisor. For.
Chris, I apologize, you did mention that to me, I just forgot to mention.
Thank you, sir.
And then again, it just comes out of sanitation.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you. So who's keeping track of this? Is that you, Daniel? Can you
Yeah.
give us a little recap?
Yeah, I'll go over it all.
I was looking to see, I see note-taking, no one.
So do we feel comfortable after the hacking incident that we had, that the cyber
I was looking at
security
that.
guy here, we don't need, I mean,
Well, I know that Gabe had mentioned that they said we were in good shape and didn't stay as long as they were anticipating, right? They were here about 2 days, is that right? Or
No, they were here just one day, half a morning, yeah, just a few hours, and then they left. They had planned to be here the entire week, but because of what MIS was doing, that sat here hiding in the back over there, there he is, they left. They didn't do anything.
I mean, if we're solid, that's good, right?
Could I ask Sergio a question?
Sergio.
So, like, you guys are good? Like, your staff's all right? You're good?
Well, there's a staff that's not funded as security officer.
and there goes the opening.
That's what I'm asking, because, no, I'm just asking because I know, we did go through that last year, like Ford mentioned. That's worrisome. That's worrisome when that happens. And also, I know, like, since we switched over to the new website, I know there's a lot of work that you guys have had to do. And I know there was something I was actually going to be meaning to reach out to you, because I know a lot of the stuff that, like, I try to look up old stuff, like old minutes and stuff like that, and I'm not able to access it anymore. It tells me if I'm going to a wrong website. I'm like, where am I going? But it's actually...
Actually, that's called a webmaster. We need one of those too.
So what is that? I'm sorry?
Webmaster?
Yeah.
To redirect?
It's somebody that does nothing but oversees the website. Make sure the content is up to date. And
So let me ask you this, and and thanks for bringing that up. I thought that part of the package when we went to the new website is that we would retain all of the information from previous searches in the search engines, where it would be redirected to the new website in the proper location.
there was a reduction of the content that was left.
So there was migration of documents, but what we're talking about is when you go online and you do a search for any city-related documents, it like lives on the web, on the old domain, and it should be immediately, instead of going to the old domain, that it would be redirected. And I thought, didn't we have those conversations?
Actually,
we did.
Because right now,
websites are not like storage devices to store data.
That's not what I'm talking about.
But we don't have that feature. No.
You're correct, because I remember we had the conversation with Christina. Christina was the one that was helping do exactly. That's where I learned the term migration of all that stuff. But it was staff that was doing it, and we were then, in turn, as I remember it, giving the information to the company, and then the company was, I guess, making the final sewing it in or whatnot.
Yeah, because right now you do searches, and if it directs to the myharlingen.us like before, it automatically, like, you can't find it.
There's nothing.
Yeah. If it doesn't direct to the new thing where it says harlingentext.gov, then you're kind of screwed.
You told me that. I didn't know.
I'm working on adding a new feature to the website, AI component. Would be like a little chat box on the bottom where citizens will ask for questions, and AI will direct them to the right place. I'm working on that. It was there, but it's not funded.
So I get that, and I saw that. I thought that was really neat. At the I've gone to TML and they're there, but I think that honestly is more of a, we'd like to have that. I don't know that we necessarily need it, but we do need for the information to be accessible. So what do you need to, is that a staff issue? Because I understood that it was just we were going to pay a price and that it was going to get done. But so again, I'm just referring to historical data that was available to the community to be able to do a simple Google search, and they could come up with those documents, city-related documents that are public record.
Yeah, that's not available right now, but it's something that can be worked out. Yeah.
What would you need for
We
that?
have a staff, webmaster.
A webmaster.
So the cybersecurity officer, what strength would that give you that we don't have right now?
Oversee and enforce security policy on the network to make sure that hackers are not getting into the system. We have the software and the hardware, but we need the human component to revise those security logs and see what's going on actually.
And these threats become more and more prominent and complicated, and likely every day.
Yeah.
And as you all know, it was a very vulnerable event. Me knowing absolutely nothing about it, I just thought it'd be something that was worth mentioning.
No, I echo, I mean, we want to make sure that we're secure.
Somebody's paycheck's probably involved in there that they might not get.
Yeah,
I count on my $92.35.
We did a lot of improvements due to the security breach, but there's still room for improvement.
I think if the commission's going to consider either the webmaster or the security officer, I would feel more comfortable with the security officer.
Oh, I think,
Because that, I'm
for
sorry?
sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is there a
def-
hybrid that does both?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can be multitasked, right?
Yeah,
Well,
because I know you guys overstretch because I've been told how you guys not only do this, but you also help out the library, you also help out some other areas. And I know you guys are like stretched really, really thin
Yeah.
because there's only 3 of you, right?
Four.
Four.
When I started here, the MIS department was 3. 30 years ago, we're 4 right now.
I'm down.
I have a question, pivoting a little bit. Are we ever going to get the street gang unit jump-started again?
Tell us, Sergio, are we going to do that?
What? I'm sorry.
That's
Talk to the chief
a
over there.
PD question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio. No more questions for Sergio?
So are we going to do the,
Right, let's
cybersecurity officer?
this. I mean, I think it's something important. If we are not secure, then we shouldn't even be having the discussion. We should absolutely be funding it. If it's something that, because everything it needs improvement, right? And all things can be improved, but if it's a necessity, then we really need to consider it. So is that what this is?
Yes.
Okay, I'm down.
Okay. Sorry, Gabe.
Sorry, Gabe.
no, you said you were good with it, right?
Yeah, I'm good with it. Yeah,
He
I'm
said
good.
he was going to pay for it out of his paycheck.
Yeah, Norma's gonna lend me some money from her mayor paycheck.
I'm at the teacher's salary, no?
So that was a no for the,
Yes, they want to do the, because from what we are going by your representation that it's needed in order for you to be able to have the human
Yeah, it's-
component
yeah.
to monitoring and ensuring that we are secure. And to Ford's point, these ways of people, or not even people anymore, just
No,
like
exactly.
AI and all this, it just changes by the day. And to be able to be at the forefront, right, of these changes and having a human being to help us with that instead of just the software. Is that right?
Correct, yes.
Then you can't be paranoid enough protecting the computer system.
Correct.
Okay.
okay.
All right, so that comes at a price tag of $73,482.
And that was a no for that, right?
That was a yes.
Oh, that was a yes.
Sanitation fund, right?
No, I wish I could, but no. Okay, so,
Since it's an enterprise fund, I'm trying to tag everything I can.
There you go again with dirty jokes.
Dirty jokes.
okay, so that's a yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because it's a need, not a want, is what we're hearing, yeah.
Yeah, you're
Thank
good.
you,
Say
thank
that.
you.
Thank you.
Chief, please.
The other chief.
The grant we applied for, we did not get. It was a $635,000 grant. But I have created a unit out of the current officers and investigators that are there now, a part-time unit. We're addressing those issues.
So you are addressing that on a part-time basis?
Yes.
How much would you need? I'm referring to not this budget, but the next one. I believe this is the third year that I asked for this. How much would it take to get a good stronghold on
We'll
this?
have to figure that out.
We have a COPS grant for 10 additional officers, right?
We do.
Could that
Yes.
help with some of those positions?
Ultimately, yes, that would help supplement that.
Oh, yeah, the 10. Yeah, good. Good. Thank you so much, Chief. Sergio, I'm sorry. I totally forgot something.
Come back up.
Yeah.
Just stay over here, Sergio.
Yeah.
This is part of your exercise program.
Sit so far
Tell
out
them not
there.
to, nobody listens.
We don't bite.
Yes.
Sergio, at one point we talked, and I believe we brought it up to the commission last week or 2 weeks ago, about the street cameras for downtown Jackson, that whole area. Have we gotten that bid dollar amount yet?
Yes, 186,000.
Okay. And have you gone over that with the chief? And has the police chief looked over that, the technology, and is going to help them?
Yeah, I think they were in the meeting when
Chief, you were able to look at the cameras for downtown, the camera system?
I haven't seen the final project, but I know we're working on it.
Okay. I'd like the commission to consider funding that because we just had a rash of break-ins and again, like the chief's staff did a phenomenal presentation and it was cameras were the biggest issue. That they didn't know who was doing the break-ins, where, and I would ask that we look at funding that, whether through a grant, if there's grant money for that, or through the budget, but.
I agree with that because I've seen a lot of chatter online about that from the community. That's one of their main concerns when they go out the shops downtown. So,
And so I'd want, thank you. What I would like that the camera system to cover is also Utedes Park area. So,
Yeah.
Where does it cover completely?
we have a layout already of, I think it's like, it will give us 56 different views of the downtown, the whole town area.
The whole downtown,
Yeah.
including
It's-
Gutierrez.
include.
I'm not sure how to take
don't-
it, but it can be rearranged. I mean, it can be worked out. And if you want Gutierrez Park, yeah, we can.
Yeah, because we had that young lady I remember that came a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
and she was
Lexi?
mentioning what she sees all the time at Gutierrez Park. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that street where her shop is part of downtown?
To me, down in my mind, the way I view downtown is, you know where that Little Caesars is over there by, from that tip where Jackson meets Harrison, all the way. If you're to go east, cover up those like blocks where like the old Olympus gym is on Jackson, Gutierrez Park, and on Van Buren, all the way to where it says that Jackson. Welcome to Jackson sign when you're coming in. Whatever street that is, I forget. I think it's 6th Street, maybe. Whatever 6th Street. That to me, that's all of downtown.
To the Prather Fourth.
Yeah, where the Texas Workforce Commission building used to be.
Farther now, it's almost down the Baptist church there. I mean, to me, it's downtown.
That's what that covers that area. Yeah. The next block over.
next block.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. The one that
7th
takes you
Street comes down.
to the library.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Exactly. That's 7th Street that comes down.
Yeah. So 6th Street west, all the way to that corner where the Little Caesars is, and then I would go all the way to maybe not Jefferson, but the one before Jefferson. So.
We have a map that shows the downtown and the La Placita and the overlay district. We made them congruent. It's not quite that big.
That's what I was asking to make sure, because when I was talking to her, I think someone told her that she was not part of.
Yeah, no, that's just incorrect.
And that's how I see it. I mean, I feel that is the heart of.
I mean, it's
downtown area.
Gutierrez Park is in the,
No, there's no formal distinct, like, there's no formal boundary line. So there's the DID boundary line.
Well, the
But in my mind,
overlay.
yeah, the overlay.
and there's the overlay that matches a DID boundary.
Yeah, but
There is an official.
Yes.
And they
but-
get support in terms of the downtown. And so
For the
her
assessment.
concern was that she wasn't part of it, or was told that she wasn't part of it. And I thought that's pretty odd, given her
Yes, it's-
location, right? And, she's got to,
I'm assuming that's something that can be amended.
Oh, yeah.
we need
Yeah, we'd have to,
to look at that, yeah.
the DID board would have to vote on it, and then the commission would have to.
So yeah, 6th and Jefferson, because yeah, it would be the back of the community center in that area. So if we can look in that, I can draw it out for you.
Yeah, the system can grow. I mean, it has potential to grow. I mean, if we need to add 1 or 2 more cameras or expand the security over to other areas in the city, we can do that.
So I think that's a priority, and maybe what we do is since we don't have the actual dollar amount, and I think the chief and IT need to kind of get together and see what's best to make sure that everything's covered, but we just prioritize that we're going to have to do an amendment to get it done, and maybe we can get it as soon, I mean, unless we can do it before we finalize, but it probably is going to put you in a time crunch, but I would prefer for it to cover
area I'm talking
all the area.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then, because whatever that cost is, I think we do need to make the investment.
Right.
Okay, but let's review the plan then and come up with the new figures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just make sure that the chief is
Sure.
good with it and has access, and that was the difference, right, between and the parks is in here, right? Parks cameras are in here?
I think it was
Project.
unfunded.
The parks, no,
No.
the cameras for the downtown?
The
No.
Nelson Hill Park?
No, parks were not funded?
I thought I saw
I
them.
thought we funded them and they were much cheaper, and that's why I asked if why they were much, and then you gave us the difference between the two.
See, this is the PNG map.
Yeah,
Yes?
That lady may be right there.
she's right over here.
Oh, sorry.
She's right, I think right there.
On the other side?
Yeah, she's right.
So
I've
she's
never
not
been to
on
her
the
office,
overlay?
but I want to say she's right there because
She
that's what
is.
she told me.
She is.
That's
Yeah,
how I
that's outside the DID and the overlay
They
district.
need to include that
I can work on
whole
that.
area.
Yeah.
Or that plaza, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I can work on that.
All right.
Um,
Can we send it to you?
Yeah, please. And then the other two projects I would like us to consider, maybe not now, but for it to be a priority in the budget, is, and I sent this picture to these guys, is lighting. I think something we need to do to improve throughout the city is better lighting, specifically under the underpasses, right? If you look at the underpass on Harrison and Tyler, right there where you guys did that project, the way it was lit up is gorgeous, and I would like us to look at, and I had Oscar start doing the work on it, for every underpass from coming in from Corpus all the way to Paso Real and then all the way to Bass. Because imagine this, imagine our kids going, one, it just makes the city look so much nicer. Like the ones I've seen in McAllen, I've seen them in Houston, just looks way nicer. The one we have is just drop dead gorgeous. But imagine if the Lady Hawks are coming back from state and we can light up every underpass green and orange, or every one black and red and white. Right?
We could just
Can't
keep
do
them
black.
permanently green and orange. That'd be kind of cool.
But I think it's
Did
something
you
that,
even see that? I mean,
Hey, we're
Chris,
not talking about
are
that,
you,
okay?
you've already started. And the other one, and the crown jewel I have in my mind, if we can do it, is I would like to light up the train overpass over the walking trail to see if we can do it and work with Union Pacific. Again, that may not be a this year. I'm not saying
Right.
that this year, but if we can start looking at getting the numbers together and making it a priority.
take us a year to get in contact with the railroad and get them on board. So, but I think it's a phenomenal idea. Is it something Cape Harlingen Beautiful can dedicate some funds to, maybe?
Whether we can do that or the 4B board, both, right, is to make this a priority. Oscar's been looking at it, and Chris, right? Chris?
Yes, that is correct, yes. I should have something within the next 7 to 10 days.
Awesome.
Is any of that state property?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Well, the overpasses.
Well, the overpasses, but we would work with them. They've done it in other cities. We've done it in our city, but for us to consider that. And then the other thing with the lighting and fountains is lighting fountains at each of y'all's water features at your parks. So like at your soccer complex, you have 2 ponds that I would like us to put fountains and lights on them. The one at Pendleton do the same thing. The one at Wilson, you have a pond there. To see
Will
if-
that scare away the wildlife, the birds?
I'm not too
I
sure.
mean,
That's-
because that's federal stuff, migratory birds and all that.
I don't see that being an issue because I've seen them in like Oaxaca's and San Benito. I've seen them.
Just asking.
No, good point.
All it takes is a question.
Yeah.
Ask.
Yeah, we can ask that
Birding
question.
bugs, They know that.
And for us to look at that, making that a priority. And then the last thing, because I think it would be super awesome if you drive by any of the park or any of y'all's parks, Pendleton, whatnot, and having that water feature lit up at night, just a gorgeous thing. And then the last thing is Casa del Sol. I know we all got that email, I believe, today on the roof. Next, on our August 7th meeting, I'm having an architect come and give you guys a presentation on the history of Casa del Sol, which I did not know. And it was designed by an architect by the name of Alan Taniguchi, who eventually
Famous.
famous. And it's,
Very famous.
yeah,
People come here just to look at his buildings and
You
his
said be all
houses.
glass, right?
it'd be all glass on the exterior. And so I would like you guys to, we're talking budget. I'm only bringing it to y'all's attention now so that when I ask for it later, bring it up later, no one's shocked that I didn't bring it up during the budget time.
So,
That's when I'll be bringing up the chief's new fire truck as well.
Fire truck? Sorry.
so were we going to get cameras for the parks after all or not?
I would say, I thought that we had all agreed that the parks needed cameras, and we had said yes, but I don't see them line
Have you had-
item down here,
Sergio, or-
because they weren't as expensive.
I don't see them in the budget, and I was talking to,
Did I have a quote for those cameras? I think it was 18
I want
18,000?
to say they were,
more or less.
and that was for
Lansing
Launchy
Hill?
Hill and one more park, wasn't it?
No, just,
was it just Lansing Hill?
yeah, last year. Park.
This one says Lansing Hill, Pendleton, and Victor.
Yeah, there was a couple of, so maybe Victor is when you're going to do the redo the whole park.
And where would these cameras be?
They
You don't want people to know.
Well, that's true, you
No,
know.
I'm asking because I know last week I had a meeting with the superintendent with HISD, and then we're about to do a collaboration with the school district. Javier knows about it, where the students at HISD are going to paint murals on the restrooms. And they're going to start off with Pendleton one, and they're also going to start off on Dixieland, Pendleton and Dixieland, and I think it would be good to have cameras there because they're going to do some. I'm expecting them because I've seen what our students are capable of.
Graffiti the next night.
Yes, and then I'm worried about it because the one on Pendleton, since I was speaking to the superintendent, I was telling him that one should go in with the motif of that park because that's where our Veterans Memorial is. So that restroom should be, that theme should be something with the veterans and all that. And I would hate to see that vandalized. But at the same time, I think by the kids doing it, it's going to give them a little bit more ownership, and hopefully the likelihood of that happening is less.
Not the same kids
But
that
yeah, but I would still want cameras there because I envision the city kind of like Daniel because I love Daniel's idea of having all the different lights everywhere because we have a wonderful city and we have a beautiful city and we need to show it off. And by having these lights, like Daniel said, by having these murals painted by the kids and stuff like that, that shows our city. It shows it off. And I want to make sure to protect that, and we can do that with the cameras.
You know what we may want to do there is I think we do it for the veterans one is have it very well lit so that even if you're driving by, you'll see someone getting close to those murals because I would hate it if we get these beautiful, gorgeous murals and then the next day someone paints it. Man, that would really.
I think that lighting is going to
Lighting
be
and the
key
cameras on top of
in all over the city and all of the parks, and I think Gutierrez and that is, I think people tend to kind of just stay away from the lighted areas. It becomes a deterrent for vandalism. Because I know we went to go look, or when the Lady Hawks were playing, I was really impressed with their facilities.
Yeah.
And you could really, yes, they lock them up, but they're accessible. People could really go in and do, whatever, and tag the restrooms or do, but they're locked from the they can't go inside, but the fences where they can climb over
Yeah, you
it,
can easily climb.
it's very easily accessible, but it's pristine, it's nice and clean. That's the way that our facility should be the same. So I'm guessing maybe it's lighting, or I don't know what it is.
I think it's a
that they have.
combination of the lighting and also the ownership.
Do you know which
so
one
kids-
we're talking about?
The one off to the yeah. With those Hawks.
Where they have their
baseball
practice.
fields.
Yeah, the baseball fields, yeah.
But if I recall correctly, I think this is what you're hitting on, is that they're completely fenced in. Are you going to want to do that for our parks?
Well, what my point is that they're fenced in, but they're you can climb even me. They're really accessible.
You're not an Olympian?
I've seen her play pickleball, trust me.
Oh my goodness. What is this again? What was this? So my point is that they're doing something, and it may be the lighting that
Yeah, agreed.
serves as a deterrent. And they do have that. They're proud of their facilities.
They're beautiful.
So the three parks that we have are the bigger parks, right? Which is Victor, Lansing Hill, and Pendleton.
And that's still 18,000 for all three of those?
54.
54,000.
54,000 for all three.
It's 18 each, correct?
believe so.
Wasn't it?
The 18 is just for the Lansing Hill. I don't have the other.
Oh.
So would it be possible, if not maybe cameras, if we don't want to fund that right now, but at least lights there on Dixieland because of the mural that they're going to do? So
Yeah,
even if it's little floodlights or something like that, something that's going to show.
You did that at Gutierrez Park for the little.
Correct.
Your guys went out there. I saw them installing it, and it seemed fairly easy and economical, right, to be able to do that?
Right. So one of the things on Dixieland, so we reached out to AEP, and so we asked them if they can give us a price to put security light on the service drive leading to the water treatment plant, and then in the parking lot. So they're working on a quote for us for that.
Okay.
Is there lighting on the trail, the new trail that your guys did? Yes, at Lance Hill?
Lance Hill, yes, ma'am.
The walking trail?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Right, and there's going to be, you're going to have an item at the next meeting to actually do that for the trail from McKelvey to Dixieland, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get the park cameras, Gabe, right?
54,000?
54.
54.
And have you-
Approximately.
While you're here, I want to say thank you, because I know I mentioned those potholes that were on the trail, and I've been going on the trail every day, and I noticed that they fixed them, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. I know the community does too. Thank you.
So we're going to add the 54,000 to the lights, okay.
All right, last thing on cameras. Oh, is that lights or cameras?
I'm sorry, it's cameras.
Last thing on cameras, I know you and I had discussed at one point having dumping cameras. Remember? Because we have a lot of
Right.
illegal dumping, and so we get like game cameras.
Public Works has how many do you have?
And
Right
you
now,
might want to, before we move on, I'm sorry, just before I lose my train of thought, we probably need the lights to go with the cameras at the park, because are the cameras going to work without the light? Are they going to work without any light?
If you have infrared, it'll work.
Well, I don't know what kind of cameras.
Yeah, they need the electricity, yeah.
They need light. Yes.
No, what he meant, like light, not the power, but the light.
No, like, will they be able to?
Capture the images.
The idea is to capture good footage, right, at
Correct.
night, and so, right?
You're right, you're right.
So that's we don't want to put cameras, and then it's like, okay, you can only see what's happening
They
during
have
the day.
infrared that you can still see, but it's not clear.
fuzzy
If it's
and it's-
lighter, it's better.
Right, so you need lights. How much are the lights?
We have to come back with a number probably for that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
You
look.
can't ask for things, have you, and not know.
No, I know. We're gonna have to look at, where we're gonna place them, right, to make sure
Okay.
we have a light. I know at Lance Hill, we have plenty of lighting, and I know that's the one that's been tagged a lot.
I know.
And it just happened, I think, this past weekend. We had a complaint that there was, the language that they put on these buildings, and so I asked our guys just to go and try to wipe it off or paint over it for now, so.
Is there any type of paint that we can get that would, I don't know, prevent that from happening or
There
anything?
is, there is some paint that you can wipe down, but it doesn't work all the time, right? So if it's porous, right, it'll seep through. So we just paint them over, paint over them, I should say.
Do you remember those alarms back in the day when you would go near a car and it'd be like, don't get near me?
Oh,
And
yeah.
We need one of those, so it could be really loud as soon as somebody is.
We did
in
get a
the
quote
vicinity.
from a group that had that, right? So it had a siren, and so it'll even alert you that the park is closing, and it would be connected to the PD. It was very sophisticated, but it was very expensive.
They have those ones that it's just like they do it for deers so that they don't get into your garden. Right, you seen them? They when a deer, when it's unsmoking, it just starts spraying you with water. I bet you that's a lot cheaper. They sell it on wherever. But
You see kids running home.
gotcha.
It'll be easy to spot, Chief. So maybe provide an estimate to Gabe, what you approximate what the lighting would be to go along with the cameras that are going to be placed, so that way we have an idea. Doesn't have to be specific, but just a roundabout figure so we can factor it in.
We'll do that.
So going back to Chris, those illegal dumping cameras.
Yes, Commissioner, we have 5 right now. We rotate those cameras. We place 1 in each district, and we are requesting 3 additional through the amendments, and we place 5 more for the new budget.
And they've already been approved.
The amendment's coming up, when, Robert? August, next month?
That's for the 3, but then we have another 5. That's what you just
For
said.
the
right?
new budget, yes. So
And
in
those-
total, we all have 13.
But they're not installed yet.
We have 5 installed right now, and there's
Are you
1 in
getting
each
any
district.
results?
I'm sorry?
Are you getting any results?
Yes, sir. Actually, we noticed that when we place these cameras, we also, I asked the staff to put a sign that says you are being recorded, and illegal dumping stops.
Well, the sign does that, right? But if the sign's gone, well, then people are going to dump there again, right?
Right.
So maybe not put the sign Right. And we should just start picking up the people that are illegally dumping, because over in my area, in the Palm area, Rena, you gave it to me, it's a Palm.
The Sable Palm?
Sable Palms, that's what it is. Sable Palms, we had a lot of dumping.
Sir, the
in-
commission gave it to you, sir.
Huh?
The commission.
Yes, near Vestal there, they have a bunch of dumping, and so.
They looked at a place for me today.
Oh, really? So, yeah.
It's everywhere.
Agreed, yeah. So maybe not put that sign up so that they don't know when the camera's there or not, and we can catch them and then prosecute as necessary.
Okay.
Just a thought.
Sure.
I appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're familiar with then Alice's Restaurant? The
Alice's?
song? No, Alice's Restaurant, the song?
Guthrie.
Arlo Guthrie?
No.
Oh,
But is
look
it the
it
show
up.
or something?
No, it's a 19-minute and 6-second song, 6-second song about getting caught dumping trash. It's hilarious.
Okay, please send it to me. I look forward to it.
So that
Are
concludes the
you
slides.
tallying up everything?
So this is what I have. Guys, please tell me if I missed anything for each of your departments. Again, these are just the proposals. We can type it up and send it to everyone for the next round. 170,000 for library renovation, like all that stuff, right? $19,382 for Parks and Rec part-timer. $90,000 coming out of sanitation for the 2 mechanics.
90,000?
90,000, 90.
Yes.
And the service writer, right?
Well, no, I haven't gone there yet.
Oh, okay,
but,
okay.
That's for the employees.
Then the $25,000 for the doors, $22,000 for the disc golf, $2,400 for the bikes.
22,905, 908?
I just put 22K.
Oh,
Yeah, but
okay.
We understand the golf, right? Disc
Okay.
golf. Had to shorthand it after a while. Fleet service advisor, $44,544 out of sanitation. Cybersecurity officer, which is the $73,482. And in the park cameras, I put 54,000 plus lights, and we'll know what that dollar amount is soon enough. Did I miss anything?
That 25,000 for doors, does that include the one for the records?
No, that did not. This is the 25,000 that the mayor brought up. But if we have a dollar amount for that, I can.
I think it's 3,000 as
Was
well.
that?
I'd say go for it.
Okay, you missed the 2,400 for the bicycles for PD?
Yeah, I had that.
Oh, you had it? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
2,400.
I missed that.
Don't worry. And then the 3,000. That's what you said for the door for records.
Ballpark number?
Yeah, well, that's total. I didn't. You counted.
That's
so
for,
you-
but that's for you numbers, guys.
I can give you
Commissioner,
that.
if I may, so the quote that we provided for the records retention room, it was for the door, an AC unit, and,
Camera.
3,000?
no, it was a total of 19,000 for the door, the AC unit, and the camera.
Okay, that's not 3.
Okay, 19,000. I updated.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Where the heck did I get 3?
About 504,000.
Plus 16.
Chris, if you can, while you're there, and going back to the ponds, Oscar had a phenomenal idea to work with Texas Parks and Wildlife to stock our ponds with trout and so that we can have fishing tournaments for kids.
But that doesn't include.
That was Oscar's great idea.
Change they just made.
So if you can, Chris, I'm sorry, I know we have a lot of work on you, but if you can also get me that dollar amount for the lighting and fountains.
Sure.
Chris, the number that you just gave for the door and the other, how much was that?
19,000, sir.
Right?
Yeah, it's for the door, the AC unit, and the camera.
That's 19 even?
19 even,
Yeah,
yes.
you're talking about 550 then, all your numbers. Just running it in my head.
Yeah.
And then I'll work with staff to get cost estimates, not necessarily for the budget, but for the lights for the underpass and then the bridges.
So Gabe, do we need to meet again?
I was hoping not to, as far as another budget workshop. We can prepare all these changes and then get an item on the agenda to actually start adopting the budget. Unless the commission wants to consider it one more time for any other projects.
I think August 7th, we can.
It'll only get worse.
Yeah.
I think that's why Gabe doesn't want another meeting.
Actually, going forward, the deadlines start getting.
Right, no, I
pretty
think
tight.
we've kind of fleshed it out.
Yeah.
Everybody had an opportunity to, have input. Staff is here. There's no other, say that again?
Needs.
Needs. Or there's a lot of needs, but no.
Needs versus wants,
Needs
right?
versus
Only a lot of wants.
Right, and so I think this is good, and we can kind of, Gabe can incorporate that and then.
We can, and it'll still be a balanced budget with all these additions. so.
One last, I think, need just one last thing, is if we can, Oscar, look at getting in this budget to rehab the trails, those crushed granite trails that we need to rehab with Javier back there. If we can put that in there, because I know there's multiple parks throughout the city that need those trails rehabbed, and let's see what that looks like as well.
Sir, I had a question. How quick could we get or could we send out those commitment letters? Because the sooner we order the equipment, the better. And same thing for Chris and sanitation as
I
well.
would wait till at least we have the first reading before we send out any letter
Okay.
of the agenda, of the budget.
See if we can get BOGO deals on any of them.
BOGO deals, yeah. All right.
Okay, wonderful.
Commissioner, I was writing notes, but we talked about the street sweeper and the equipment operator too. Those were not in there.
I didn't think there was, at this point, right? I think that's a next year.
Excuse me, wasn't that going to be a possible amendment?
I think we can look at it after, once we're
Mid-year.
mid-year, and we've done a few amendments so far. I think
Yeah.
that this is one of those, and I think you said 3 to 6 months, so lead time in purchasing, so I think that's not too bad.
Got it.
Well,
So
thank
again-
you.
Yeah, no, Robert, I want to just, thank you and your team, and of course, city management and everyone involved in providing this to us and giving us an opportunity to really see what's really needed within the city. And so great presentation, excited that the city is growing, moving forward. And I'm really excited about this crew that Public Works is going to have. I think it's going to work wonders for our community.
When do you think it can be up and running, Oscar?
I mean, our goal, if everything gets approved, is to hire the first person, right? So he can be part of the interview panel to hire the rest of the staff. We're looking for a certain special skill set, and between the interview panel that we're going to put together, I think we can find some good people. So hopefully, if we can get all the people in before the end of the year, we would love to start paving by January.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, agreed. All right.
Awesome.
Great job, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. And everyone.
Everybody.
Thank you.
We are done. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We are adjourned.
What's up, man?